Hello and welcome to the Big House here in Ann Arbor. I am CJ Stone. Alongside with me, I have Leo Blavin today for the University of Michigan spring game. And Leo, unlike previous spring games in the past, where it seems like it's been a script that's been more of practice drills and blocking, it looks like there's going to be an actual scrimmage going on between the maize and the maize and the blue team today. What are you looking for as a result of this game?
Well, Michigan hopefully would like to see some answers come out of today's game. Obviously, Michigan still doesn't know who their quarterback is. This will give fans their first opportunity to get to see these quarterbacks live in action because with the exception of Shane Morris, we've never seen any of these quarterbacks in a game-like atmosphere because even in previous spring games, it was typically drills as opposed to a one-on-one game. So I think fans are excited to just get to a better sense of what the quarterback position is going to look like in the coming season for Michigan. There's a lot of fans on hand to see that question answered today.
Aside from the quarterback spot, who do you think who are you looking forward most to seeing in today's game?
Jabril Peppers will continue to be the guy I'm excited to see because last year we never got to see enough of him on the field battling injuries all season. So he's a guy I'm really looking forward to seeing finally come out and hopefully play fully healthy. In addition, Ty Isaac has to be a guy to look for on the offensive side of the field because he was a guy who had to sit out last year for transferring. It looks like he's good to go. He was running through warm-up. So it'll be exciting to see the potential starter at running back for Michigan this season, the transfer coming in from USC.
Are there any players that have switched positions that you might know of under Harbaugh's regime?
Well, we saw in warm-ups Dennis Norfleet lining up at the cornerback position. He's certainly a guy who they tried to work in as a slot receiver under Brady Hoke, never really seemed to get a grasp of that receiver position. He's been a special teams contributor. It's exciting now to see him finally get the opportunity to play on the defensive side of the field, and something we expected to see in the spring game. Probably not a lot of special teams play under John Baxter. He's emphasized how they're focused more on mechanics right now than result, so the teams will start on the 25 as if it were simply a touchback.
And that's going to get things started for us here today. The starting team on offense is going to be the white team, and Alex Malzone is going to be their quarterback to start things off. Malzone lines up under center. He's got two receivers to his sides with a running back behind him. Hands it off. And there's a huge hole as number 4, Davion Smith is running all the way through, makes it a 20-yard gain for the first play of this spring game.
Yeah, Michigan will be happy with the offensive result. It's tough to analyze these games just because obviously when the offense has a big play, that means the defense failed to do their job, and a missed tackle there, but Davion Smith nonetheless able to get upfield, find the seam, and that's going to be something to look for further in this game is how does the offensive line control the line of scrimmage today against the defensive front of the Wolverines.
Malzone lining up in the shotgun with Smith to his right. He has two receivers to his right, one to his left. He goes back to pass, and there is a foul called. There's a flag thrown. Looks like it is offsides on the offense.
Yeah, quick jump. Maybe players are a bit antsy, so a quick false start, certainly something Jim Harbaugh will not be pleased with, a penalty coming this early in the game. It's exciting to see Michigan, though, this new offense with a lot of new formations, seeing fullbacks on the field, seeing tight ends. It's interesting because this is the first time we've seen a fullback really become a staple in a Michigan offense in a long time.
And that's currently what we have right now as Malzone lines up in the I formation, fakes the fullback, goes back to pass, but hands it off to Smith, who gets smothered at the line of scrimmage. Much better defensive action right there from the Wolverines defense on the blue team.
Yeah, Ryan Glasgow was impressive last year and made an impressive play there. Just not a lot of running room and 5 blue shirts in the backfield before Davion Smith could get started. Unfortunately, a far too familiar sight from last year's game, or from last year's season, was seeing the running backs not even have an opportunity to get through the hole. So that'll be interesting to see how the offensive line play works today, their first time going up full speed against a solid defensive line.
Malzone, the shotgun, ball the 49, 2nd and 18. He gets the pass, goes for a quick pass, and it's almost intercepted, but it gets caught. And that was caught by the wide receiver for the Wolverines,
Jehu Chesson out there. He was lined up out wide, a guy who made a lot of strides last year. And many people have been pointing to him as potentially the guy to step up and be the new #1 receiver with the departure of Devin Funchess. Some wide receiver is going to have to step up and become the go-to guy. Jehu Chesson making his case early on to be that featured receiver going forward.
Chesson is the much larger receivers out of the receiving corps so far. As the white team lines up in the I formation, Malzone hands it off to the fullback, who again gets smothered at the line of scrimmage. No holes right there, as the defense was completely ready for that play.
And Chase Winovich, another guy who's switched. He came into Michigan as a linebacker. Now he's going to be featured by Michigan as both a tight end and a fullback. So Jim Harbaugh so far has shown he's willing to take guys who he thinks may have been recruited for a different position or may have not had the previous coaching regime look at them, and he's willing to put them all over the field trying to make this team as complete as possible.
And very interesting formation right there for the Wolverines, as Malzone drops back to pass, escapes a tackler, but gets caught right again at the line of scrimmage. It's going to be no gain for a 3rd and 8, for actually a loss of 2 for a 3rd and 10 on the 28.
And this is something interesting to see is in previous spring games, when they went full contact, the quarterback's always in a red jersey or an orange jersey under Brady Hoke, indicating they can't be hit. We're not seeing that today, as Ryan Glasgow showed no hesitation to bring down Malzone. And you got to like to see that, because quarterbacks at the end of the day are going to get hit during the season. No sense in the spring game to keep them untouched.
Malzone in the shotgun with Smith to his left. Back to pass. Finds Chesson, but Chesson just barely misses it and drops the pass.
Actually, that was Morris Ways, who a sophomore coming in from Detroit Country Day. And he's a receiver who is looking to become a more integral part of the offense. Didn't really get a lot of opportunity last season. And good throw on the money. One Ways probably should have made the play on, but at the end of the day, that was also just good coverage by Brandon Watson.
Watson was completely covering Ways that entire time. It's going to be 4th and 10 in spring games. There's no, as you said, there's not really going to be any special teams, so there's no purpose for the Wolverines to not just go for it, as Malzone almost had a wide open receiver, but number 44, Chase Winovich, the tight end playing in the tight end position that time, was just not able to corral that ball in. But it looks like there was a penalty on that.
Yeah, Blake Countess came in from the cornerback position to try to blitz and force some pressure. He was a bit antsy, lined up off sides, not even the jump that got him. And so Michigan will get a second chance of life here on 4th down, and they will, of course, go for it again. But on that previous play, that was one Michigan definitely should have had the 1st down, as Winovich did have enough separation. The ball was thrown well enough by Malzone, and simply Winovich unable to make the play.
Malzone so far has thrown for 21 yards. He's lining up under center. Davion Smith is in the backfield. Chesson, the ball thrown to Chesson. Chesson goes back, tosses the ball forward, and the ball barely drops in front of Davion Smith.
Yeah, a little bit of razzle-dazzle, like the play design. Chesson just got upended as he let the ball go. Otherwise, that's an easy touchdown. Defense was caught off guard. You like to see a bit of razzle-dazzle in the spring game. Obviously, not a lot to lose. But at the end of the day, it was the defensive pressure and the hit as the ball was being released. Otherwise, Davion Smith had no one within 10 yards of him. The ball just too underthrown. Credit the defense, though, making a play on the release of the ball to prevent that receiver from setting his feet and firing a solid pass.
That was all defense on that one. And now we are on the flip side of things, as the blue team is out on offense with Shane Morris as their quarterback. Morris hands the ball off to their fullback, Wyatt Shulman.
And Shulman, a guy, another defensive player that we've seen converted to the offense, as the fans let out a cheer, as the guy to make the tackle there, Jabril Peppers, and the fans, just like me up here in the booth, excited to see Peppers. Came in with so much praise, the highest rated recruit ever brought into the university. And now he's got a chance of a healthy season, a new coaching staff to try to make his presence felt.
Morris lines up in the shotgun, Quick pass. It gets caught by Jake Butt, and Butt is taken down.
Yeah, the tight end's going to be a more integral part of the offense this year, so not surprised at all to see the tight end getting touches early. And Jake Butt's going to be a guy who I think you can expect to make major strides this season, simply because in the previous regime, he was more used as a safety valve rather than a deep threat, especially with Devin Funchess often lining up as an interior receiver. This year, Jake Butt's going to really have an opportunity to excel as a pass catcher in addition to as a blocker.
3rd down and 6. Morris lining up in the shotgun. Wyatt out to block. Morris, time to pass. Throws. Gets it to number 3, Bo Deaver, the wide receiver, and that is going to get stopped before the 1st down.
Yeah, Bo Deaver just running a quick out route. Yet another pass that the cornerback had an opportunity to make a play on. Jabril Peppers was there, just a little bit out of his reach, but Michigan will be forced to punt on their side of the 50. As at the 33, even in the spring game, you're not going to see a punt coming. You're simply going to see the Mays team take over at their own 25.
Now, the one benefit of the spring game is that things move very, very quickly. Instead of any type of media timeouts, we're actually going to move the ball at a very, very brisk pace.
Yeah, and Jim Harbaugh certainly not one to let the media interfere on anything he's doing, especially when it's his controlled scrimmage. So this will be a quicker spring game than in previous regimes, and the quickest football game you've ever been a part of at the collegiate level, because there will be no media timeouts, 2 minutes between the 10-minute quarters, and then a 5-minute halftime. With the exception of that, there's not going to be many stoppages, which is great to see as a fan of the game.
Malzone back out there. Under center. Hands it to Smith. Smith trying to find a hole. Does not, and just gets smothered.
Yeah, it was actually Derek Green getting his first touch of this season. And Derek Green, another guy who we've been waiting to see make a big jump to the next level. He was recruited as such a highly touted running back. Last year, obviously, the injury ended his season, but he had a lot of progress, and it looked like there was an opportunity for him to make great strides, but the offensive line ultimately didn't provide any of the running backs a great opportunity. Will he get that chance this year is the question.
Green looks like he's going to be the running back for this drive as Malzone gets a quick pass out to number 85, Maurice Ways. Sorry, that is out to J.U. Chesson, number 86, and Chesson gets wrapped up very quickly again.
Yeah, so, Chesson already his 2nd reception of the game, and I think he could realistically be the guy. Freddie Canteen's another guy who stands out as a potential number 1 receiver going forward, but J.U. Chesson, another guy who fans are going to have to keep an eye on throughout this spring game and during the offseason, as he may be the next number 1 receiver for Michigan.
White team lining up with Malzone in the shotgun. Malzone back to pass, has time. Going wide as Ways goes up and makes the catch. That's going to be a catch. No, that's an interception. It looks like Ways had that ball, but it ended up going into the arms of the defender.
Yeah, crazy play there. Gerard Wilson dislodged the ball from Mo Ways, and then Johnny on the spot right there to make the catch. In midair was Brandon Watson, the sophomore from Eastern Christian Academy, a high school teammate of Freddie Canteen, and a great heads-up play. But looking at the replay, and I don't know if they're going to replay in this game, it appeared to be incomplete as his backside never landed on the field. It landed on a teammate before landing out of bounds, but doesn't look like any replays are going to come today.
It's a spring game. You're rarely probably going to see that as Morris in the shotgun going for some trickery again as he passes it back to the fullback who passes it to Morris, and Morris gets smothered.
And a great defensive play there. Getting in the backfield quickly was Taco Charlton, as there were 4 offensive linemen set up to block for Shane Morris. There was plenty of room. The one guy who needed to be blocked, and I got to correct myself, that wasn't Taco Charlton, but the one guy who needed to be blocked was Joe Bolden, and Joe Bolden, who has a knack for getting in the backfield from that linebacker position, there to stop the play for no gain. Great play by him to shed the block.
Morris going a tad bit more traditional here as he lines up in the shotgun under center, hands it to number 82, Amara Darbo. Darbo, no gain. actually tackled for a loss. 3rd and 12 so far.
Yeah, tackling, I will say just that's one thing that stood out from this defensive perspective is tackling looks much improved. Last year, that was one of the Achilles heels for the Michigan defense. They had a lot of talent, but a lot of missed tackles led to big plays. So far, the defense tackling has been crisp, and it'll be interesting to see if that's something that has been an emphasis for DJ Durkin, the new defensive coordinator for the Maize and Blue.
3rd and 12 for the blue team. Morris lining up in the shotgun. Gives a quick pass out that gets tipped up by number 83, Jaron Dukes, and it gets intercepted by the white team. That was a catch by
Delano Hill, the defensive back. One of those plays that as a secondary member you dream of is a high deflection off the shoulder pad and helmet, and Delano Hill, almost like a center fielder in baseball, just able to come up under it, catch it in the bread basket, and who will set up the Maize team in good field position as Alex Malzone looks to keep things rolling on offense. He's been very good with his ball placement so far at the quarterback position. He just hasn't had a lot of help from his receivers so far.
Malzone under center. Hands it to the running back, who this time is Davion Smith. Smith gets smothered 1 yard into 1 yard past the line of scrimmage. And so far, after that first big play, Michigan's both sides of the defense have done a pretty good job at containing the running backs.
Yeah, and Willie Henry, one of the guys who I expect to make a big stride at the defensive line position. He's going to be lined up a lot as an interior lineman, as Michigan will rotate a lot between a 3-4 and a 4-3, which means you could see Willie Henry at defensive end or nose tackle or defensive tackle. He's going to get a lot of more play, though, this year as an interior defensive lineman, with that being one of the weaknesses on paper coming into this season.
Morris with a very quick pass, number 85, Maurice Ways. Ways tries to get around the defenders, but he's smothered again and doesn't get past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, great play there by Malzone, able to show his ability to throw on the run, and that's going to be something crucial going forward. Is Shane Morris, who started often last year and would have been considered, at least on paper, the favorite based on experience and only experience, as the favorite coming into this spring camp. He struggled often with accuracy, especially on the run. If Malzone can deliver on that, that makes him a real contender, as I know a lot of fans have been clamoring for him to be the starter, being the first freshman starter Michigan's had in a long time.
Malzone, back to pass. Plenty of protection, going up deep, but there's no one where that ball was. The closest person was number 25 on the blue team, DeMonte Thomas.
Yeah, Mo Ways was the intended receiver. I just think a bit too much juice on it. Malzone doesn't have the strongest arm, and sometimes he likes to overcompensate by trying to rocket the ball in there. That was a pass that needed a lot of pace on it, and I'm not sure if it was an option route for the receiver where the receiver stopped rather than continuing his progression. But nonetheless, miscommunication leads to a major overthrow, and now the blue team will be forced to take over.
So far, no points have been put on the board by either side. The defense for both sides has been superb. 23 seconds left in this first quarter. Morris out under center with one running back behind him. Hands it to the running back, who gets smothered again at the line of scrimmage.
Joe Carriage this time, another fullback getting an early touch here, as we've seen some trick plays, but for the most part, rather conservative play calling. And you'd like to see it just because it's great to see a new offense installed. At this point in the season, you expect the defense simply to be better, simply because defense, it's a lot less nuances and a less new scheme to learn as far as a defensive player. At the end of the day, the defense's job is still simply find the guy with the football and make the tackle. So you expect with an offense running their first live game action in front of a crowd, in front of a rather packed big house, given it's just a spring game. We have, I'd say it's not a stretch to say at least 80,000 people here at the big house. It's a massive crowd. So you expect to see the offense maybe struggle a little bit, maybe drop balls that they should be catching, but it's also promising to see the defense making tackles, as that's the one thing that you can see a defense struggle with in spring ball is the lack of ability to tackle. But under Jim Harbaugh so far, they're practicing all 4 hours in pads. So you expect the tackling to be a little bit more crisp because they've been playing live football this entire spring season.
So far we've gone past the first quarter, which has been, again, one of the fastest quarters of my time calling any Michigan football game. So far, this Wolverines team has shown that defensively they are a tad bit more sound, as you said. What do you think the offensive sides of both teams can do to try and move the ball along?
Well, blocking's got to improve. You simply can't afford, as we saw under the last coaching staff, to start 1st and 10, run the ball for a 2-yard loss, and make it impossible for you to advance the ball beyond the first down marker. And that was the problem all of last season specifically, was 1st and 10 would almost automatically turn into 2nd and 11 or 2nd and 12 as opposed to, 2nd and 7 to the 2nd and 4 range. Michigan's got to get more manageable first downs when they have the ball on offense.
Morris hands the ball off to number 14, Drake Harris, unless that was that was my mistake. That was number 18 for the Wolverines, Antonio Whitfield, the son of one of the Michigan greats, coming into the season as a freshman.
Yeah, Michigan's going to try a lot of bodies at running back and fullback in this game, try to clear some things up so you can make plays. But yet again, the story of the defense getting in the backfield far too easily.
Morris lining up in the shotgun. Whitfield to his left. Morris finds a gap ahead of him, tries to run forward, but is smothered by a fantastic tackle.
Yeah, Maurice Hurst Jr. with a great tackle to bring down Morris in the open field. Morris has shown in the past the ability to run an opening in the middle of the field. Maurice Hurst, if he doesn't make that play, it could have been a far bigger gain. Great play again by the defensive lineman. The interior defensive lineman is so important to be able to tackle, especially when a player's in the open field, because so often, especially in the last regime, we saw the defensive line not being able to make tackles at the initial point of attack and allowing massive gains because the linebackers are typically in coverage, the secondary usually playing deep. So if a quarterback can get into the open field, it can be dangerous. It's so crucial for defensive tackles and defensive end to maintain their gap pressure and make sure that they make the tackle when they get a hand on the ball carrier.
The Mays team is now back on the field at essentially the 47-yard line. Malzone is still the quarterback for the Mays team, as he lines up under center, running back behind him, hands it to Derek Green. Green found some space on the outside, able to get a good 5-yard carry.
Yeah, and so often when an offensive line is struggling to block in the interior, pitching it out, allowing your running backs to get outside, get into space, can be key. And Mason Cole did a great job there, pulling all the way from his guard position to get to the outside. Having 2 offensive linemen outside the hash marks blocking for you is so comforting for a running back, allowing him to spring to the next level and get positive yardage on first down, something that's been hard to come by so far for the running game.
Green staying in the game so far. Malzone tosses it back to him. Green finding huge amounts of space and is able to run for the first down.
And Derek Green, something he struggled with is that burst to speed at first receiving the football. He's looking a lot quicker and a lot faster, which is promising to see coming back from a lower body injury. And that was one of the knocks on him, was he came into Michigan rather out of shape. He was a bigger back to begin with, but coming in overweight is so difficult for a larger running back, one who likes to ground and pound as Derek Green likes to do. Looking to get that speed back has been something he's struggled with so far in his time at Michigan. If he can get quicker when he receives the football, that could be huge for him going forward, trying to earn that number 1 position.
Malzone under center, fakes the handoff, passes, and it's intercepted by the blue team as number 48 for the blue team, Desmond Morgan, just takes it right out of the air.
Yeah, and Alex Malzone made a freshman mistake there, staring down the wide receiver, not even noticing the linebacker in zone coverage, as he had his receiver, Jehu Chesson, seemingly open because the defensive back laid off, but in zone coverage. Great play by Desmond Morgan, reading the eyes of Malzone, picking it off and making a great hands plays So often you'd see a linebacker tip that up and drop it and not be able to locate the football. He was able to keep concentration, catch the football, making a great play like a wide receiver rather than the linebacker.
Morgan was out last season, I believe, and seeing that from him is a great thing for the Wolverines coming in this season. Shane Morris for the blue team handed the ball off to his running back, and nothing happened as the Maize team's defense just got behind the offensive line and just destroyed number 28 Brent destroyed. Sorry, this is a different player than what is on the roster so far.
Well, just to say, Joe Bolden made the great play from the linebacker position to prevent the gain on first down. And the blue teams really struggled as they do. Again, they're just rushing back to the line of scrimmage. Ty Isaac getting his first touches is a welcome sight to see him in the game and playing, as there were questions with the injuries that he's sustained in the spring practices that he may not be a full go. The transfer from USC came in highly regarded, wasn't able to play last year. He'll be active this season, and he may be the front runner at the running back position just based on what we saw from the other running backs last season, especially with Drake Johnson out with an injury.
Isaac staying in the game as Morris goes back to pass, gives it up, heaves it, and number 82, Amara Darbo, does not get the catch as it fell right out of his hands as he hit the ground.
Inexcusable. Darbo's got to make that play. He was wide open. Morris standing in the pocket strong, delivering the ball, knowing he was going to take a hit down low, and he got a great pass made to Amara Darbo. But some credit has to be given to Dennis Norfleet out there playing at the defensive back position, as he was able to dive in with the ball not secured yet and punch it out. But at the end of the day, hitting him right in the chest, Amara Darbo's got to make that play. Michigan's receivers struggling right now, not helping Shane Morris, who delivered a perfect ball despite being hit as he released it.
So far, the Wolverines have not gone for a lot of big yardage throws. That was one of the first ones of this game. And as you said, their receivers are not making the catches that they need to come up with.
It's hard to, you don't want to blame the offense too much for the struggles, given that they're instituting a new scheme. But at the end of the day, catching a football doesn't change regardless of what type of offense you're running, and that's been a struggle for both sides so far.
Malzone was under the shotgun, had no protection, almost got sacked in the backfield, but ended up having to just throw it away.
Yeah, designed screen pass, but Derek Green was engaged in a block with Ryan Glasgow. So smart play by Malzone, seeing the pressure coming, rather than trying to force a screen pass, throw it at the feet of your running back, is the equivalent of throwing it away on a rollout. So in the pocket, he had to throw it in the field of play. Smart job just getting rid of the football as his intended target was engaged in a block.
Malzone in the shotgun, hands it off to Derek Green, who finds some space behind the offensive line, but does not get any kind of yardage on the outside, but there's a flag on the play.
Yeah, from what we saw up here in the booth, holding penalty, I believe, will be the call. It is. Holding call, they said 62. I believe he meant 52, as from what I saw, it was Mason Cole who simply saw Blake Countess coming in on the block. No, they got it right. It was, in fact, number 62.
Blake Bars.
Bars had basically tackled Blake Countess coming in on the screen, and he laid on top of him as the play progressed. Nothing but the referee could do but throw the flag.
Malzone in the shotgun, covered not able to get any blocking again, has to do a quick pass to Derek Green, and Green not able to bring that one in, as that was another quick throwaway from Malzone.
Yeah, blocking continues to be an issue for the Maize team, as Malzone, nothing he could do but try to get it out to the flats. Derek Green didn't have a lot of room, even if he made the catch. So, again, the offense is both struggling, and field position hasn't been the problem for either side when they've had the ball. The question has to be, how much of this is just the new scheme leading to offensive struggles, and how much of this is simply the line play on the offensive sides of the football not being good enough?
Well, one thing on that the blue team does have going for them is that they have more senior players on the offensive line, as they have Graham Glasgow to try and give some protection. But as I'm saying that, they try to run the ball, and the blue team is not able to do anything.
Yeah, defensive line play has continued to be impressive. I guess that would be the bright spot of this, is not a lot of positives to take away from the offense yet, which is to be expected in a spring game with a new offensive system. But
Wyatt Shulman getting the run there. As it looks like he's going to stay out on the field with Morris as he sets up to Morris's right. Morris in the shotgun with 2 receivers to his left, 1 receiver to his right. Morris hands it off to Shulman. Shulman trying to find some holes, lowers his head, and is able to drill it for a couple extra yards. That's going to be about a 3-yard gain.
And Shulman is another guy who has the potential to be the number 1 fullback or running back for this team. Is there's no clear favorite yet that's emerged in spring practice. So a lot of positions on the depth chart still to be decided. And it's not a foregone conclusion that Davion Smith or Derek Green or some of the highly touted running backs, Ty Isaac, will be the number 1. They're going to take the guy who they think is best, regardless of the recruiting hype that he came in with.
Morris in the shotgun. Huge lob up to Jake Butt, but he overthrows it completely, but nowhere near that ball, as that's going to be another 4th down for the blue team.
Yeah, he overthrew that quite a bit and into double coverage, which is worrying because Shane Morris, the 1 junior, he's not the guy who's supposed to make those mistakes on the reads. But offenses continue to play rather poorly, as again, to be expected. However, you've got to be pleased with the defense, especially the secondary, where we've seen very few busted coverages so far in the game. However, the opportunities that the quarterbacks have been able to find open receivers, the receivers simply haven't made the plays.
Malzone for the Mays team in the shotgun. Malzone does a quick slant route, passes it to number 17, Freddie Canteen. Canteen gets tackled after about a 4-yard gain.
Freddie Canteen, a real speedster, getting his first reception of the game. And he's another guy who I could see emerging to be that number 1 receiving threat. He was so promising as a freshman a year ago. Came in from an obscure school, El Christian, and was able to immediately make an impact as a freshman. He could be the number 1 guy. He's got everything you want, the size and the speed for an outside receiver.
Malzone lines up under center, hands the ball off to Derek Green, who gets tackled at the line of scrimmage. So far, this defensive line for both sides of these teams is forming a wall at the line of scrimmage that these running backs are just not able to break through.
Yeah, and Willie Henry continues to impress at the defensive tackle position, getting into the hole and getting that immediate tackle, not only just stopping and closing the running gap, but also bringing down the running back.
3 minutes, 41 seconds left in the second quarter. 3rd and 4 on the 16-yard line. Malzone under at the shotgun. Takes it and runs the ball himself, gets about 3 yards, and gets tackled.
Yeah, and in the shotgun, where you see a quarterback simply take it and run it, I think it was just pressure by Desmond Morgan getting in the backfield immediately, forcing Malzone to tuck it and run. Perhaps a play that Jim Harbaugh would rather see him throw that one away, as that was definitely not a designed quarterback run. It's just the pocket collapsed before Malzone even was able to finish his drop back, and all he could do was run it and either throw it away or tuck it and run. He chose to tuck it and run there. But I think that'll be a coaching moment, perhaps telling Alex, you want to throw that ball away rather than risk taking the hit for a possible gain of no better than a yard.
Malzone still showing he has a tad bit more footwork than Shane Morris on the opposing side. The game clock is being adjusted from 3:16 to 2:46 as a minute passed without the clock ticking down.
Yeah, and Harbaugh realizes the importance of this spring game, but nonetheless trying to limit it from being as long as possible. As at the end of the day, this still is practice. Simply getting players to go through reps is the most important thing, rather than making sure that the game is played to its full length, as the 10-minute quarters alone would suggest the importance of simply just going through limited routes.
Shane Morris, under center, ends up getting blown up by the defense. That was number 83 for the White. That was number 93, Lawrence Marshall for the Mays team. Marshall just completely grabbed Morris, got past his blockers, and Morris had nowhere to go.
And Marshall came in as a promising edge rusher out of Southfield High School. He's a guy who's also expected to make great strides last year, as he was limited in his role due to the depth at the defensive end position a season ago.
Morris under center again. This time, hands it off. Looks like Isaac is carrying the ball. Isaac makes a couple good dodges and gets tackled for about a 2-yard gain. That was Ross Taylor Douglas, another running back addition for this Wolverines team.
Yet another guy we see getting a switch of position. He was recruited to Michigan as a secondary member, as an athlete overall, but he had played primarily cornerback, and now getting a chance to run the football. Is Michigan's going to seemingly try any guy who's speed and can hold on to the football at the running back position, it seems, in this game at least.
However, there was a holding penalty on number 72 for the Mays team, as that's going to put them 10 yards back. That was on the junior Chris Fox. And Wolverines call a timeout.
Yeah, the Mays team taking their first time out with 1:55. They want to try to get the ball back in this first half. Like to see both teams treating it as if it still is a real game, as that would be the logical decision here with 1:55 on 2nd and a mile. Take the timeouts. If you're on defense, try to get the ball back in good field position.
It's 2nd and 28. So far, neither team has been able to do much defensively. Isn't able to do much offensively running the ball. As you said, there have been at least 5 different players running the ball on both sides, between both teams.
Yeah, and it'd be one thing if it was the walk-ons and just seeing the depth, but these are guys who are contending for that starting role. Is there's no clear running back favorite that you can point to and say, well, these guys are just getting reps to be the 2nd and 3rd stringers. Anyone on this team has the potential to be the number 1 at any position. As Jim Harbaugh, all he talks about in practices is competition. He's hardly the guy to be swayed by the fact that a kid came in as a 5-star or a no-star recruit. He simply wants the best player at each position on the field for Michigan. So he's going to try anyone who's willing to run any position. If you're the best guy, you're going to get the starting position. That's been his attitude, and they're going to dictate it through competition. No better way to compete than in this scrimmage format prior to the season starting.
Shane Morris in the shotgun, 2nd and 28 from the 26. He goes back to pass, almost gets number 94, Ian Bunting, a new tight end for the Wolverines. Bunting goes up with one hand trying to bring that one in and just cannot corral it.
Yeah, Morris just getting drilled as he released the football. Good pressure, not allowing Morris to set his feet. Otherwise, I think that's a pass that probably would have been caught, as Bunting had a step on the linebacker, and with so much height as Ian Bunting, one of the tallest guys you'll see at running back, coming in at 6'7", he's going to be a mismatch nightmare if he can get himself into the rotation at tight end next season.
Morris in the shotgun, goes back to pass. Huge pass to Amara Darbo. He catches it and brings it in for a 30-yard pass.
Double coverage, doesn't matter. Great placement on that deep ball by Shane Morris, something that's welcomed, as Morris in the past would have chucked that deep ball 20 yards out of the reach. As he has that huge arm, and that's been a struggle for him on deep balls. Great placement there, throwing it right into the reach where only Darbo could make a play on it. Safety help, not enough, not getting there in time. A huge play, and great job by Darbo to finally hold on to the football. First huge offensive play we've seen since the first play of the game.
Morris lining up in the shotgun again. Has a running back to his left, but ends up passing it to Jake Butt, who just gets it knocked out of his arms before he can really hold on to it.
Yeah, he got drilled immediately. by Jeremy Clark, a huge safety just coming in, delivering the boom, putting his helmet right on the football before Jake Putt could secure it, but tried to tuck it, and before he could, just a great hit made by Clark.
However, you have to give Morris credit on that one. He was covered pretty quickly and got that ball out fast.
And Morris, unfortunately, is rather used to having to get rid of the ball quickly based on previous offensive line play.
Morris in the shotgun, 2nd and 10. There is a flag on the play as it looks like it's going to be offsides on the offense. It's going to be on number 72, Logan Tully-Tillman, and a redshirt sophomore who is getting his first play on offensive lines in this game. It's now a timeout to adjust it's now adjusting the clock to 1 minute and 12 seconds left in this half as the blue team is trying to go down the field and put points on the board. Morris in the shotgun again. 2 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. Looks, has to run out of the pocket, gets the ball out, almost caught by number 80 by Amara Darbo as Darbo drops the pass.
And good coverage there by Dennis Norfleet, who appears he may be a guy going forward who's starting at the defensive back position because he's running out there with the first team defense for the Mays team. And he's done a good job in coverage of Darbo. We know he certainly has the speed to be a defensive back. The question is going to be, does he have the size? He's rather short for a defensive back, but with speed, he can make up for a lot of shortcomings as far as his height and size are concerned.
Morris in the I formation hands it off to one of his staples of running backs. That's going to be Antonio Whitfield, who gets tackled after a 3-yard gain. The blue team is calling a timeout with 1 minute left. That wasn't a bad run from Whitfield as he was able to find a couple of holes, but ended up running into 2 defenders on the Michigan defense. On the Mays team defense.
So we're going to get a minute left of offense as we're going to see some hurry up from the white team, see if they can get things going here. Both teams still looking to get points on the board for the first time in this spring game. And with a minute left to play, it'll be interesting to see what type of play calling we see for the white team starting at their own 10. They've got to go 90 yards. It doesn't appear any field goals are going to be taken in this game, so it's going to be end zone or bust with a minute left to go in the first half.
Now, here you have to wonder if you're going to see a lot more deep pass throws from Malzone, who is currently still the quarterback for the Mays team. Malzone in the shotgun. Derek Green lined up as his running back as there is a flag called. Looks like it's going to be offsides. And that's going to be on the offense. 5-yard penalty, 1st and 15 now from the 5-yard line.
Yeah, just a bit quick on the snap as I believe it was the center, number 62. Blake Bars, who got a little bit antsy on the snap.
Mays team, Malzone in the end zone at this point. Back to pass. Launches it up as it gets caught for about a 5-yard gain. Not a bad catch from Winovich.
Yeah, Chase Winovich doing a good job getting upfield, trying to just get some breathing room as Michigan's got 52 seconds left. I should say the Mays team has 52 seconds left. Just looking to get upfield, looking to get some positive yardage. Great way to start the drive with a simple dump down. Gets it back to 2nd and 10 after the false start penalty had him pinned in their own end zone.
The clock is being adjusted to 55 seconds as that gives the Mays team 3 extra seconds than what they originally thought they had. Winovich right there just couldn't get past the defense as it is 2nd and 10 from the 10-yard line. Jim Harbaugh in on the Mays team's huddle right there, trying to help them plan a tad bit on what they should be doing as Malzone lines up under center with Derek Green as his running back in the backfield. tosses it to Green. Green on the outside, trying to find some space, but just is not able to get around it and gets tackled for essentially no gain. 3rd and 10.
Gets out of bounds, stopping the clock, and the blue team may get one last opportunity to get the ball back if Michigan's Mays team can't pick up the first down here on 3rd and 10.
It's 3rd and 10 with 49 seconds left in this half. Again, one of the fastest games of football you will see as we only started at 12 o'clock. The Mays team, 3rd and 11 actually, on the 9-yard line. Malzone in the shotgun. Has time, passes it to number 18, Antonio Whitfield.
But the play there, Blake Countess blowing up the wide receiver, trying to set the block for it against him, simply blowing up AJ Peart, or not sure who that was. It may have been Jared Langler lined up at receiver. Whoever it was, he blew him up, able to shed his receiver block, not allowing any gain by the Mays team. And now the blue team will take over with 40 seconds left to play in great field position.
The catch was made by Joe Beneducci for the Mays team. And so far as these two teams go, both quarterbacks have shown that they can get the ball out in a decent amount of time, but when their receivers catch the ball, they just have nowhere to go. No receiver has really been able to get any yards after the catch, as the defense for both the Mays and the blue team has been stifling. Blue team at the 48-yard line has the best shot with 44 seconds left to score. 44-yard line, Morris hands the ball off to his running back, as that was Wyatt Shawman, who takes it at least to 7 yards for a very good gain.
Yeah, positive yardage on first down from the running game. Hasn't been seen often in this game, but blue team taking a timeout, obviously 32 seconds left to play, and they have the best opportunity we've seen so far in this half to put points on the board here with a half minute left to play in the first half of this spring game.
That was actually Bobby Henderson, the fullback. That was number 37 for the blue team. As the Wolverines on the blue team are trying to come up with another play right here. One thing that Michigan has obviously shown during this game is that their running backs and tight ends are going to play central roles in the offense, as they have gotten the majority of the work so far this game. Morris under center. Morris in the shotgun. He has a running back to his right, and he tries to do a very quick pass to Jaron Dukes, but that is going to be incomplete. Dukes didn't really have a chance to get that one in.
And now with 3rd and 1, the blue team in an interesting predicament with 33 seconds left to play. They obviously want to be looking upfield, but at the same time, they still need to pick up that yard and get the first down.
Now, the blue team still has 2 timeouts left. They can, with the use of fullbacks in this team, they have a decent shot at getting that 1 yard necessary. But it looks like Morris is in the shotgun. He's going to pass this one. Goes for a deep pass, as that gets corralled and caught by Darbo. Darbo with a big grab for a 20-yard gain.
Darbo just too much height over Dennis Norfleet, as that's a major mismatch on the left side of the field. And simply Shane Morris doing a great job throwing the ball up where only Darbo could get it, and he holds on despite Norfleet's effort to strip it away.
Darbo does an excellent job just getting up and grabbing that one a good couple feet ahead of Norfleet. 1st and 10 on the 14. This is the first time that the blue team has had a legitimate chance of scoring a touchdown. Morris in the shotgun. Shawman out. Tries to go to Dukes, who brings it in and makes the catch. Dukes with the first touchdown of the game.
Great ball placement there Duke's able to catch that pass, and Norfleet showing his inexperience. He didn't even know the ball was in the air, as Duke's making it look too easy. And Morris with the great delivery, putting the ball at the point where only Duke's could get it. And Duke's great awareness is Norfleet. As I said, he didn't even have his head turned around by the time Duke's had caught the ball. It was too late. And Michigan's blue team gets the first touchdown of the game, and we'll finally see our first kick.
Kyle Seychel is going to be the kicker. That one's going to be up, and that one's going to be good. The blue team is going to walk away with a 7-point lead with 23 seconds. You have to wonder, is the Maize team going to actually try and go out and score here, as they only have 23 seconds left? Or are they just going to call an end to this half?
Yeah, you've got to assume they'll at least try to do something. With 23 seconds, there's no real harm. So expect them to do at least something, but with 23 seconds and no timeouts, you almost expect them to just try to maybe run the ball, try to just get positive plays going as they head into the second half.
So far, out of the receivers, Darbo has been targeted more than any other receiver on either side. As both Dukes and Darbo are able to help move that blue team to score. Malzone with a deep pass that is just over the head of number 44, Chase Winovich, the tight end, but there's a flag on the play.
And Malzone may have just lost the grip on the football there. It didn't appear it took a deflection, but it came out rather awkwardly, not a tight spiral there. No real chance for Winovich to get under that football. Just a poor throw by Malzone, but it may have just slipped out of his hands.
As it did seem like the wind kind of carried it. It is a very windy day here in Ann Arbor. However, there was a flag on the play. It's a 10-yard penalty as the Wolverines are as the Maize team is now pinned back to the 15-yard line, 1st and 20 with only 15 seconds left. But Malzone downs the ball. That's going to do it for the first half, as the blue team has a 7-0 lead over the Maize team. And Leo, what do you think is the biggest takeaway from this first half of this game so far?
Both defenses have looked good, and Shane Morris, I have to say, I've been impressed because the wide receivers may have been the biggest problem with the passing game so far for the blue team, but Morris has looked much improved from what we saw last season.
And that's going to do it for the first half here in Ann Arbor. We'll be back in about 5 minutes with the second.